The spacecraft tumbled from the sky, trailing smoke and debris across the Canadian wilderness. Its metal shell, unlike any Earth alloy, gleamed with an iridescent blue even as flames licked its sides. The impact shook the ground for miles around, toppling trees and sending wildlife fleeing in panic. Within hours, military helicopters circled overhead. Soldiers established a perimeter while scientists in hazmat suits approached cautiously. Among them was Dr. Sook, her eyes wide with wonder behind her protective visor. "Readings show breathable atmosphere inside," said a technician beside her. "And something's alive in there." The ship's exterior had no visible seams or doors. As the team debated how to proceed, a section of the hull simply dissolved, revealing a dark opening. Everyone stepped back, weapons raised. From the shadows emerged a figure that moved with graceful precision despite its alien form. It stood taller than any human, with 4 arms and silvery skin that reflected the floodlights. Its large eyes blinked rapidly, adjusting to Earth's harsh sunlight. "Nobody shoot," Dr. Sook commanded, stepping forward despite her racing heart. The creature raised all 4 of its hands in what seemed like a universal gesture of peace. A small device on its wrist glowed, projecting symbols into the air between them. "I think it's trying to communicate," Dr. Sook whispered. Over the next 3 days, the military constructed a temporary research facility around the crash site. Dr. Sook worked tirelessly with linguists to establish basic communication. They learned the visitor called itself Tejo, and that it had traveled an unimaginable distance seeking refuge. On the 4th day, Tejo's translation device finally processed enough English to form coherent sentences. "My world is gone," it said, the mechanical voice unable to convey the sadness in its eyes. "The Dominium destroyed everything." Dr. Sook sat across from Tejo in the hastily constructed meeting room. Government officials watched from behind a one-way mirror. "Who are the Dominium?" she asked. "Conquerors," Tejo replied. "They travel galaxy to galaxy. They take what they want. They destroy what refuses them." "And they destroyed your home?" Tejo's upper arms crossed over its chest in what they had learned was a gesture of grief. "My people refused to join them. We valued our ways, our art, our beliefs. The Dominium sees difference as waste." Dr. Sook felt a chill. "Are they coming here too?" "Yes," Tejo said simply. "They follow all paths of advanced technology. Your radio signals, your space missions, they have noticed." In the observation room, officials exchanged worried glances. "Can we fight them?" Dr. Sook asked. "My people tried. We were more advanced than humans. We failed." Tejo paused, its translator searching for the right words. "But humans have something my people lacked." "What's that?" "Unpredictability. Creativity in crisis. The Dominium cannot understand minds that do not follow logic." General Han entered the room, his face stern. "We need to know everything about their weapons, their tactics." Tejo tilted its head. "You believe me?" "We'd be fools not to prepare, just in case," the general replied. That night, Dr. Sook found Tejo staring at the stars through a window in its quarters. "Can you show me your home?" she asked gently. Tejo pointed to a faint star cluster. "There. But the light you see left before the destruction. Nothing remains now." "I'm sorry," Dr. Sook said, meaning it. "Why help me?" Tejo asked suddenly. "I am not human. I bring warning of danger. Many of your kind fear me." Dr. Sook considered this. "Not all of us. Some see a refugee who needs protection. Others see a valuable source of information. Some even see a potential friend." "Friend," Tejo repeated, testing the word. "My people had a similar concept. Connection without biological necessity." A technician rushed into the room, interrupting them. "Doctor, we've detected unusual signals from beyond Neptune's orbit. The military needs you both immediately." On the way to the command center, Dr. Sook noticed how the soldiers stared at Tejo with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Some nodded respectfully. Progress, she thought. The command center buzzed with activity. Satellite images showed strange distortions near the edge of the solar system. Is it them? Dr. Sook asked. Taeho studied the readings and nodded solemnly. Scout ships. They are taking measure of your defenses. General Han frowned. How long do we have? Months, perhaps a year, Taeho replied. They are thorough in their assessment. Then we have work to do, Dr. Sook said, straightening her shoulders. Taeho, will you help us? The alien looked around at the humans, seeing determination rather than despair on their faces. Yes, Taeho said. Perhaps humans will succeed where my people could not. Outside, the sun rose on a world forever changed by a single visitor bearing terrible news, and perhaps, the key to survival. 3 months after Taeho's arrival, Dr. Sook walked with him through the research facility that had become his temporary home. The alien moved with more confidence now, his forearms no longer drawing stares from the staff who had grown used to his presence. The air here still feels heavy, Taeho said, his translation device now smaller and attached to his throat, giving his words a more natural flow. But I am adapting. Dr. Sook nodded, making notes on her tablet. Your oxygen levels are stabilizing. The modifications to your living quarters seem to be helping. They entered the main laboratory where scientists worked with materials from Taeho's ship. The alien had willingly shared some of his technology, though Earth's manufacturing capabilities struggled to replicate the advanced components. Dr. Kong wants to meet with you about the shield design, Dr. Sook said. Taeho's eyes blinked in their distinctive pattern that indicated interest. His ideas for energy distribution were clever. Different from how my people would approach it, but perhaps effective. Their conversation was interrupted when General Day entered the lab, his face tight with displeasure. Behind him walked several government officials in dark suits. Dr. Sook, we need to speak privately, the general said, eyeing Taeho with thinly veiled suspicion. In the conference room, the general didn't bother sitting down. The International Security Council has concerns about your alien friend having free access to our facilities. Dr. Sook crossed her arms. Taeho has been nothing but helpful. The defensive technology he's sharing could be our only hope against the Dominium. If the Dominium even exists, said one of the officials. We only have his word for it. Our deep space monitors confirmed unusual activity, Dr. Sook countered. Which could be anything, General Day said. Meanwhile, we're giving an alien full access to Earth's scientific knowledge, military capabilities, and infrastructure weaknesses. The argument continued for hours. Eventually, a compromise was reached. Taeho would remain at the facility but with increased monitoring. Dr. Sook left the meeting frustrated and exhausted. When she returned to Taeho's quarters, she found him creating a complex holographic display of star systems. They don't trust me, Taeho said without looking up. His translator conveyed the statement as matter of fact, though Dr. Sook had learned to recognize the subtle drooping of his upper arms as disappointment. Some don't, she admitted. Fear of the unknown is deeply human. The Dominion uses fear as a tool, Taeho said. Divide potential allies before conquest. Dr. Sook sat beside him. We need to help people understand you better. The opportunity came sooner than expected. 2 days later, a massive storm hit the region. The facility's lower levels began flooding, threatening both equipment and personnel. Dr. Sook was helping evacuate the science wing when she heard cries from the cafeteria. A group of maintenance workers was trapped by rising water and collapsing ceiling panels. She ran toward the sound, only to find Taeho already there. The alien had entered the dangerous area without hesitation. Using his forearms and superior strength, he held up a fallen beam while the workers escaped. Dr. Sook, he called. The structural integrity is failing. Water rushed around their knees as they made their way toward the exit. Suddenly, the ceiling above them groaned. Dr. Sook looked up to see a massive section beginning to collapse. In an instant, Taeho was beside her. His body glowed with a strange energy as he created a field between them and the falling debris. The concrete and metal hit the invisible barrier and slid harmlessly aside. How did you? Dr. Suk began, but Taeho was already pulling her toward safety. Once outside, emergency teams swarmed around them. Dr. Suk watched as paramedics checked the rescued workers while casting curious glances at Taeho. "Thank you," one of the workers said to the alien, extending his hand. Taeho hesitated, then carefully shook it with his lower right hand. "I am glad you are safe." Video of Taeho's rescue spread quickly online. News programs showed footage of the alien using his abilities to save human lives. Public opinion began to shift. A week later, General Day approached Dr. Suk and Taeho in the lab. His usual stern expression had softened slightly. "The Security Council has reviewed your status," he told Taeho. "Restrictions on your movement within the facility have been lifted. Additionally, we'd like you to join our strategic planning team for planetary defense." After the general left, Taeho turned to Dr. Suk. "I don't understand. Why would risking myself change their minds?" "Because now they see you as someone who cares," she explained. "Not just about your own survival, but about ours too." "It makes you..." "What?" Taeho asked. "More human, in their eyes," Dr. Suk said with a smile. "Though that's probably not the right word." Taeho's upper arms made the gesture they had learned meant contemplation. "Perhaps the word is friend. Outside the lab windows, construction had begun on new buildings around the facility. What had started as a temporary research station was evolving into something permanent. Something that, perhaps, Taeho could one day call home. 8 months after Taeho's arrival, the world had changed in ways few could have imagined. Nations once hostile to each other now worked together on planetary defense systems. Taeho's knowledge had accelerated human technology by decades, though many systems remained theoretical without materials advanced enough to build them. Dr. Suk stood beside Taeho in the newly constructed Global Defense Center. Screens around them showed satellite feeds of distant space. "The anomaly near Jupiter's orbit has grown," she said, pointing to a distortion barely visible on the screen. "Our instruments can barely detect it." Taeho studied the readings. Dominium scout ships use displacement fields to hide their presence. "Your sensors are detecting the edge effects." General Day entered, looking grim. "The Security Council is meeting in 10 minutes. We need you both there." The council chamber was filled with military and government officials from around the world. The mood was tense as Admiral Jean presented the latest findings. "Multiple anomalies have been detected throughout the solar system," he said. "Based on Taeho's information, we believe this represents a fleet of at least 12 Dominium vessels." Murmurs filled the room. President Hwan raised her hand for silence. "Taeho, what does this pattern suggest to you?" The alien stepped forward. Despite months among humans, his fluid movements and silvery skin still drew stares from newcomers. "The Dominium follows standard protocols before invasion," he explained. "First, they study all communications to understand social structures. Second, they map defenses and resources. Third, they test responses." "Tests?" asked Defense Minister Cho. "Provocations," Taeho clarified. "They will create situations to measure your reactions, your unity, your resolve." As if on cue, the emergency lights flashed. A technician rushed in with a tablet. "Madam President, we've lost contact with 3 space stations simultaneously. All communications satellites in the southern hemisphere are experiencing interference." President Hwan looked at Taeho. "Is this the test you mentioned?" "The first of many," he replied gravely. Over the next 2 weeks, Earth faced a series of unexplainable catastrophes. Power grids failed across Europe. Navigation systems directed ships into dangerous waters. Weather patterns suddenly changed, causing flash floods in normally dry regions. Through it all, Dr. Suk worked with Taeho to understand the Dominium tactics. "They're testing our adaptability," Taeho explained as they analyzed data. "Seeing how quickly we can respond to unexpected threats." "And are we passing?" she asked. "Better than my people did," he said softly. "Humans are creative in crisis." One night, as they worked late in the lab, Dr. Suk found Taeho staring at old Earth history books. "What are you researching?" she asked. "Your wars," he replied. "So many, over such small differences." Dr. Suk felt defensive. "We're not perfect." "No," Taeho said thoughtfully. "But perhaps that is your strength. My people were unified in thought and purpose for 10,000 years. When the Dominium came, we had only one strategy, one way of thinking. When it failed, we had no alternatives." "And you think our divisiveness helps us?" "Diversity of thought creates multiple solutions to problems," Taeho said. "The Dominium cannot predict what they do not understand." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call. A Dominium probe had been captured in Earth's atmosphere. In the secure lab, scientists carefully examined the basketball-sized metallic sphere. Its surface crawled with strange symbols that shifted and changed continuously. "Can you read this?" Dr. Suk asked Taeho. He studied the patterns. "Yes. It is collecting data about your defenses, population centers, and..." He paused, looking troubled. "What is it?" General Day demanded. "It's specifically analyzing human neural patterns. Brain activity." "Why would they care about that?" asked a scientist. Taeho's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "The Dominium doesn't just conquer planets. They absorb useful traits from species they deem worthy. Physical adaptations, technological innovations, and sometimes, thought patterns." The implications sank in slowly. This wasn't just an invasion. It was evaluation for assimilation or extinction. Later, in an emergency council meeting, Taeho revealed the most disturbing news yet. "The Dominium has encountered humans before," he said. President Hwan leaned forward. "When?" "According to the probe's data, approximately 300 Earth years ago. They deemed humans potentially useful but insufficiently developed at that time." "And now?" asked Minister Cho. "Now they have returned to reassess. If they find humans worthy, they will attempt to absorb your biological and cultural advantages while eliminating your independence. If they find you unworthy but threatening, they will eliminate you entirely." The room fell silent. "How long do we have?" President Hwan finally asked. "The main fleet will arrive within 30 days, Taeho said. And they've already made one critical decision." "Which is?" General Day asked. "They know I'm here. The last survivor of a species that defied them." Taeho's translator couldn't convey emotion, but his posture showed his resolve. "My presence has accelerated their timetable. The Dominium does not leave loose ends." Dr. Suk looked around at the determined faces in the room. "Then we have 30 days to prepare our welcome." The sky turned an unnatural shade of purple as the Dominium fleet entered Earth's atmosphere. 7 massive ships, each the size of a small city, positioned themselves over strategic locations around the globe. Smaller vessels swarmed like insects around the motherships, their metallic hulls reflecting sunlight in blinding flashes. In the Global Defense Center, humans worked alongside Taeho with grim determination. The alien had spent the last month helping them modify Earth's existing weapons systems with technology from his crashed ship. "Their energy shields operate on a rotational frequency," Taeho explained, pointing to a simulation on the large screen. "If we time our attacks precisely during the millisecond gap between rotations, we can penetrate their defenses." Dr. Suk nodded, relaying the information to military commanders worldwide. "All defense forces acknowledge. They're synchronizing attacks now." General Day entered, his uniform crisp despite having not slept in 2 days. "The Dominium commander is requesting direct communication. They're broadcasting on all frequencies." President Hwan straightened her jacket. "Put them through." The main screen flickered, revealing a humanoid figure with grayish skin and eyes like polished metal. Its features were almost human but wrong in subtle, disturbing ways. "People of Earth," the figure said, its voice unnaturally smooth. "I am Overseer Razek of the Dominium Collective. Your world has been selected for assessment. Resistance is unnecessary and wasteful. President Huan stepped forward. We welcome peaceful contact with other civilizations, but we will defend our planet and our sovereignty. The overseer's expression didn't change. Sovereignty is an illusion. All life serves the collective eventually. Its gaze shifted to Teho. You harbor a fugitive of a conquered species. This violates Dominium Protocol. Teho is under our protection, President Huan stated firmly. Protection? The overseer seemed almost amused. Your species barely understands interplanetary travel. You cannot protect yourselves, let alone others. The communication ended abruptly. Moments later, alarms blared. Multiple attacks reported worldwide, announced a technician. They're targeting power infrastructure and military bases. Execute Operation Thunderstrike, ordered General Day. Around the world, specially modified defense systems activated simultaneously. The technology, a hybrid of Earth and Teho's people's designs, targeted the frequency gaps in Dominium shields. Dr. Suk held her breath as the first reports came in. Direct hit on vessel over Beijing. Shield penetration confirmed. Paris Defense Grid reports successful countermeasure. New Delhi confirms enemy craft disabled. On the tactical display, 3 Dominium ships showed damage. It wasn't a victory, but it was far more effective than Teho had dared hope. In orbit, Captain June led Earth's limited space forces in a desperate gambit. His squadron of 30 fighters, enhanced with Teho's technology, approached a Dominium vessel conducting atmospheric sampling. Remember the plan, he told his pilots. Unpredictable attack patterns. They expect logic, give them chaos. The Earth fighters attacked from multiple vectors, changing direction randomly. The Dominium defensive systems, designed to calculate and counter logical attack strategies, struggled to adapt. Captain June noticed a weakness in the enemy ship's rear quadrant. Squadron 3, follow me. We've got a shot at their propulsion system. His fighter took a direct hit, systems failing as he approached the target. Rather than retreat, he made a split-second decision. All power to forward shields, he ordered his onboard computer. Captain June aimed his damaged craft directly at the enemy's vulnerable point and accelerated. The impact triggered a cascade failure in the Dominium ship's systems. Back at the defense center, they watched the space battle unfold. Captain June sacrificed himself, reported an officer, voice tight with emotion. Teho's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. Why would he do that? His survival probability was still 18%. Because sometimes humans choose what's right over what's safe, Dr. Suk explained gently. The Dominium's response was swift and brutal. An energy pulse disabled electronics across North America. Precision strikes destroyed key military installations. But everywhere, humans adapted and fought back with whatever was available. When a Dominium ground force landed near a small town in South Korea, they expected to meet organized military resistance. Instead, they encountered farmers with hunting rifles, students with homemade explosives, and elderly veterans leading improvised ambushes. The overseer requested another communication with world leaders. Your resistance is unexpected, it admitted. Our models indicated a 98% probability of surrender after initial demonstrations of force. Then your models don't understand humans very well, President Huan replied. The overseer's metallic eyes fixed on Teho. The fugitive has provided you with technology beyond your development level. This creates an assessment imbalance. Teho shared knowledge freely, as a friend, Dr. Suk interjected. That's something else your models probably don't account for. Friend? The overseer tested the concept. You would die for this alien who was not of your species? General Day stepped forward. We would fight for anyone who stands with us against tyranny. The overseer was silent for a long moment. Interesting. The collective requires additional data before proceeding with full invasion protocols. A representative will arrive to conduct direct assessment. The screen went dark. Teho turned to the humans around him. This is unprecedented. The Dominium never delays conquest once begun. Dr. Sook allowed herself a small smile. Then we've already accomplished something your people couldn't. Yes, Teho agreed, a new hope in his voice. Perhaps humanity's stand has only just begun. 3 days after the initial attack, a single Dominium shuttle descended from the mothership hovering over the Pacific Ocean. It landed precisely at the designated meeting point. A temporary structure built on neutral territory in international waters. The human delegation waited nervously. President Huan stood at the center, flanked by General Day and Dr. Sook. Teho remained slightly behind them, his silvery skin reflecting the morning sunlight. The shuttle's door dissolved rather than opened. From within stepped the overseer, accompanied by 2 guards with bodies that seemed partly mechanical. Up close, the overseer was even more unsettling, nearly human in appearance but with skin that moved too smoothly and eyes that reflected light like mirrors. Your species continues to fascinate us, the overseer said without greeting. Our conquest algorithms have never required adjustment before. President Huan remained composed. We are not here to be conquered. All species say this initially, the overseer replied. Yet here is the question that disrupts our models: why do you protect this being? It pointed at Teho. It is not of your genetic line. It offers limited strategic advantage. Its presence accelerated our arrival timeline. By all logical measures, surrendering it would improve your survival chances by 27%. Dr. Sook stepped forward. Teho came to us in need. He warned us of danger. He shared knowledge freely. Where we come from, that makes him an ally, a friend. Friend, the overseer repeated the word as if tasting it. A concept based on mutual benefit without genetic imperative. We understand the theory but find it inefficient in practice. General Day's patience wore thin. What exactly is the purpose of this meeting? Final assessment, the overseer stated. We offer terms: surrender the alien fugitive, and we will leave your planet intact. Your technology will be harvested, but your species may continue under Dominium guidance. And if we refuse? President Huan asked. Then we must assume dangerous unpredictability in your species and proceed with sterilization protocols. A heavy silence fell over the meeting area. The humans exchanged glances, but no one spoke the obvious truth that billions of lives hung on this decision. Teho stepped forward. I will surrender myself. No, Dr. Sook said immediately, grabbing his upper arm. It is the logical choice, Teho insisted. One life against billions. President Huan raised her hand for silence. She turned to the overseer with unwavering eyes. We refuse your terms. The overseer's expression shifted slightly, the first real emotion it had shown. Explain this decision. If we surrender someone under our protection today, we compromise who we are as a species, President Huan explained. The next demand would be easier to accept, then the next, until nothing remains of humanity but obedient shells. You choose extinction for principle? The overseer seemed genuinely confused. We choose to stand together, General Day said firmly. All of us. The overseer turned to its guards, communicating in rapid clicks and whistles. After a moment, it faced the humans again. In 10,000 cycles of conquest, spanning 27 galaxies, we have never encountered a species that prioritized an unrelated being over collective survival. This defies prediction. That's because you see differences as weaknesses, Dr. Sook explained. We see them as strengths. Teho brings perspectives we would never have on our own. Diversity makes us stronger, not weaker. The overseer was silent for a long time. Finally, it said, the collective must reconsider assessment parameters. Your species requires further study before classification. With that, the Dominium representatives returned to their shuttle. As it rose toward the mothership, the massive vessels around Earth began to withdraw as well, pulling back to the outer solar system. Later, at the Defense Center, celebrations were tempered with caution. They're not gone, General Day warned. Just retreated to observe. But they're not attacking either, Dr. Suk pointed out. For now, that's a victory. She found Taeho on the observation deck, watching the stars where the Dominium fleet had withdrawn. Why did you try to sacrifice yourself? She asked. It seemed logical, he replied. My life for billions of yours. That's not how we measure worth, Dr. Suk said gently. Taeho turned to her, his four eyes blinking in the pattern she now recognized as emotional processing. In all my travels, across 12 star systems seeking refuge, only humans offered me not just safety but belonging. My people valued unity of thought. The Dominium values biological efficiency. But humans, you value connection despite difference. Is that so strange? She asked. In the cosmos I have known? Yes. Taeho's upper arms made the gesture of profound respect. You are the only race that embraced me as I am. Perhaps that is why you may be the only race the Dominium cannot understand or defeat. 6 months later, Earth launched its first true interstellar vessel, built with technology adapted from Taeho's ship. Dr. Suk stood on the bridge as captain, with Taeho as her first officer. General Day had fought hard for this mission, not of war or even defense, but of outreach. Their mission, to find other survivors, other refugees, and bring them together. To build not an empire or a collective, but something new, an alliance of different beings united by respect for each other's uniqueness. As Earth faded from view, Taeho looked at the humans working alongside him on the bridge. Home is not a place, he said quietly. It is where you are valued for who you are. Then welcome home, Dr. Suk replied with a smile, as they set course for the stars.